Human trafficking is a global crisis ensnaring millions in its web of exploitation. 27.6 million people are trapped in forced labor worldwide. This includes sex trafficking, forced labor, and other forms of exploitation. Men, women, and children from all walks of life are robbed of their freedom and dignity. Human trafficking is a $150 billion industry globally. Combating trafficking requires disrupting the flow of money and holding perpetrators accountable. By acknowledging these statistics, we can work towards eradicating human trafficking. Human trafficking is defined as the use of force, fraud, or coercion to exploit individuals for profit. This exploitation can take various forms, including forced labor, sexual exploitation, and the removal of organs. It is a grave violation of human rights, reducing individuals to commodities to be bought and sold. The essence of human trafficking lies in the denial of an individual's autonomy and their forced participation in activities against their will. This crime preys on the vulnerable, targeting those who lack the resources, education, or social support. Traffickers often exploit existing inequalities and power imbalances to coerce their victims into submission. This can involve physical violence, threats, psychological manipulation, and the abuse of trust. The methods employed by traffickers are often insidious and designed to break down the victim's resistance. Combating human trafficking requires a comprehensive approach that addresses both the demand and supply sides of the problem. Ultimately, the fight against human trafficking is a fight for human dignity and the fundamental right to freedom. Human trafficking manifests in various forms, each with its unique characteristics and devastating consequences. Forced labor, one of the most prevalent forms, involves compelling individuals to work against their will, often under inhumane conditions. This can include domestic servitude, agricultural work, construction, and manufacturing. Victims are often subjected to long hours, low or no wages, and physical and psychological abuse. Sex trafficking is another pervasive form involving the exploitation of individuals for sexual purposes through force, fraud, or coercion. Victims are often forced into prostitution, pornography, or other forms of sexual exploitation. Organ trafficking, while less common, is a horrific practice involving the illegal removal and sale of human organs. Victims are often deceived or coerced into giving up their organs, sometimes under the guise of medical treatment. The various forms of human trafficking share a common thread: the exploitation of individuals for personal gain. Recognizing the diverse manifestations of this crime is crucial for developing effective strategies to combat it. Human trafficking disproportionately affects vulnerable populations, those who lack the resources, support, or social standing to protect themselves from exploitation. Migrants and refugees, often fleeing conflict or seeking better economic opportunities, are particularly vulnerable to trafficking. Their precarious circumstances make them easy targets for traffickers who exploit their desperation for work and safe passage. Children, especially those living in poverty or without stable family structures, are another highly vulnerable group. Their innocence and lack of awareness make them susceptible to manipulation and coercion by traffickers. Individuals experiencing homelessness or lacking stable housing are also at increased risk of being trafficked. Their need for shelter and basic necessities can make them desperate enough to accept offers that lead to exploitation. Women and girls are disproportionately represented among trafficking victims, particularly in the context of sex trafficking. Addressing the root causes of gender inequality is essential for preventing trafficking and protecting women and girls from exploitation. Human trafficking thrives in environments characterized by poverty, lack of education, and corruption. Poverty creates desperation, making individuals more willing to accept risky job offers or migrate to unfamiliar places in search of better opportunities. This desperation makes them vulnerable to traffickers who exploit their need for work and income. Lack of education limits individuals' awareness of the risks of trafficking and their ability to access information and resources that could protect them. Corruption within governments and law enforcement agencies facilitates trafficking by creating an environment of impunity for traffickers. When officials are complicit in trafficking or turn a blind eye to its existence, it becomes easier for traffickers to operate and avoid prosecution. Combating corruption is essential for creating a legal framework that effectively protects vulnerable populations. Addressing the root causes of trafficking is crucial for long-term prevention. By creating a more just and equitable world, we can reduce the factors that make individuals vulnerable to trafficking. Traffickers employ sophisticated methods to recruit and control their victims, often operating across international borders. They may use false promises of well-paying jobs, educational opportunities, or romantic relationships to lure individuals into their web of exploitation. Once victims are under their control, traffickers use various tactics to maintain their dominance. Physical violence, threats, and intimidation are common tools used by traffickers to coerce their victims into submission. They may also confiscate passports and other identification documents, restricting victims' freedom of movement and ability to seek help. The psychological impact of these tactics can be devastating, leaving victims traumatized and fearful. Traffickers often exploit existing social networks and vulnerabilities within communities. They may recruit victims through family members, friends, or acquaintances, creating a sense of false trust. The transnational nature of human trafficking makes it a complex crime to combat. International cooperation and information sharing are essential for disrupting trafficking networks and bringing perpetrators to justice. This section will be filled with placeholder stories due to the sensitivity of real survivor stories and the need to protect their identities. Real stories would be incorporated in the final version after careful consideration and with the consent of survivors. Maria from Southeast Asia was promised a job as a waitress. Upon arrival, she was forced into prostitution and subjected to abuse. She escaped with the help of an NGO and is now rebuilding her life. Combating human trafficking requires a coordinated global effort involving governments, law enforcement agencies, NGOs, and individuals. International cooperation is essential for sharing information, disrupting trafficking networks, and prosecuting perpetrators. The United Nations plays a key role in coordinating these efforts and promoting international legal frameworks. Law enforcement agencies play a crucial role in identifying and dismantling trafficking operations. This involves investigating cases, arresting traffickers, and rescuing victims. NGOs provide vital support services to survivors of trafficking, including shelter, medical care, counseling, and legal assistance. They also play a crucial role in raising awareness about trafficking and advocating for stronger legal protections for victims. Public awareness campaigns are crucial for educating individuals about the realities of human trafficking and empowering them to take action. Individuals can play a significant role in combating human trafficking by educating themselves about the issue, supporting anti-trafficking organizations, and advocating for stronger laws and policies. Learning about the signs of trafficking and reporting suspicious activity can help identify and rescue victims. Supporting organizations that provide services to survivors and work to prevent trafficking is crucial. This can involve donating to these organizations, volunteering your time, or spreading awareness about their work. Every contribution, no matter how small, can make a difference. Advocating for stronger laws and policies that protect victims and punish traffickers is essential. This can involve contacting elected officials, supporting anti-trafficking legislation, and participating in public awareness campaigns. By taking action, individuals can contribute to a global movement to end human trafficking. Together, we can create a world where all individuals are free from slavery and exploitation. The fight against human trafficking is a long and challenging one, but there is reason for hope. Increased awareness, stronger laws, and greater international cooperation are making a difference. The stories of survivors demonstrate the resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope in the face of adversity. While the challenges are significant, there is a growing global movement dedicated to ending human trafficking. Governments, law enforcement agencies, NGOs, and individuals are working together to address this complex issue and create a world where all people are free. The fight against trafficking is a fight for human dignity and the fundamental right to freedom. By working together, we can create a world where human trafficking is eradicated and all individuals are able to live in freedom and dignity. The journey towards a world without human trafficking may be long, but it is a journey we must continue to take. The fight for freedom is a fight worth fighting, and together we can make a difference.